For most of the 19th century, one navy ruled every ocean on Earth, and it did it mostly without firing a shot. From the end of the Napoleonic Wars in 1815 to the outbreak of the First World War in 1914, a stretch the British called the Imperial Century, the Royal Navy was the largest, richest, most far-flung fighting force the world had ever seen. By law, it had to be bigger than the next two navies on the planet, combined. But the truly remarkable thing was not its size. It was its organization. A single machine, run from one building in London, that could put a warship off any coast in the world and keep it fed, fueled, and flying the same flag. This is how the Royal Navy was built to rule the waves. It began, not at sea, but at a table in Whitehall, the Admiralty. And here is the first quirk of the machine. The man at the top was not a sailor. The professional head of the Navy answered to the First Lord of the Admiralty, a politician, a member of the cabinet, usually a civilian who controlled the money and the policy. Beside him sat the professional chief, the First Sea Lord, the senior admiral, responsible for the fleet itself, its ships, its movements, its readiness. Around them, the Board of Admiralty, a committee of sea lords, each owning a slice of the empire of ships, one for personnel, one for materiel and building, one for supplies and stores. Together, they were addressed with no small awe as their lordships. It was one of the oldest forms of committee government in the world, the Navy run not by a single Admiral King, but by a board, balancing a politician's purse against an admiral's judgment. From that room, orders went out by fast dispatch ship, and later by undersea telegraph cable to squadrons thousands of miles away. A handful of men in London, moving fleets across the whole surface of the Earth. Now, how do you actually command an ocean you cannot see? You divide it. The Royal Navy carved the world's seas into stations, great geographic commands, each under its own commander-in-chief, a full admiral flying his flag in a flagship. The Mediterranean, the Channel, North America, and the West Indies, the southeast coast of America, the Cape of Good Hope, the East Indies, China, the Pacific, Australia. Each was a little sea kingdom, patrolling trade routes, showing the flag, and answering, eventually, back to London. And this global reach ran on one thing: coal. Steam warships were prisoners of their fuel, so the Navy strung a chain of fortress bases and coaling stations right around the globe. Gibraltar and Malta guarding the Mediterranean, Bermuda and Halifax the Atlantic, Simonstown at the Cape, Aden and Trincomalee on the road to India, Singapore and Hong Kong in the Far East, Esquimalt on the Pacific coast of Canada. A British warship could steam from ocean to ocean and never refuel anywhere but under its own flag. That was the real empire, not the pink on the map, but the coal in the bunkers. And the stations did real work. For decades, the West Africa Squadron hunted slave ships along thousands of miles of coast, seizing some 1,600 vessels and freeing around 150,000 people. The machine turned, for once, to tearing a trade apart. Inside that fleet, everything, every ship and every man had a precise place in a hierarchy. Ships were sorted by a rating system, 1 to 6, based on how many guns they carried. A first rate mounted 100 guns or more, a floating fortress of 3 decks. Down through second and third rates, anything from a first to a third rate was a ship of the line, heavy enough to stand in the main battle line. Fourth rates sat awkwardly in the middle, and the fifth and sixth rates, the frigates, 30-odd guns, were the fast cruisers, the eyes and messengers of the fleet. Men climbed a ladder too. At the bottom, boys and ordinary seamen, then able seamen, petty officers, and warrant officers who ran the ship's trades. Above them, the commissioned officers, lieutenant, commander, captain, and then the flag officers, the admirals, commodore, rear admiral, vice admiral, admiral, and at the very summit, admiral of the fleet. For centuries, there was a stranger layer still. The fleet was split into 3 squadrons by color, red, white, and blue, and your rank came with a color attached. A captain could be promoted to rear admiral of the blue, rise to the white, then the red. It was gloriously complicated, and in 1864 they swept it away, and the whole Navy took a single flag. The white ensign, it still flies today. But a fleet is only wood and iron without men, and finding them was the Navy's oldest problem. In Nelson's day, the solution was brutal: the press gang. Roving parties seized able-bodied men off the streets, out of taverns, and straight off homebound merchant ships and forced them aboard. After 1815, that practice quietly died, and in 1853 came the reform that built the modern Navy: continuous service. Before it, crews were raised for a single commission and then paid off, scattered the moment a ship came home, so the Navy had to be rebuilt from scratch for every war. Continuous service changed the deal. A man now enlisted in the Royal Navy itself, not one ship, for a career of 10 years and more, with steady pay, the chance of promotion, and a pension at the end. Boys as young as 12 were entered and trained on ships like the Britannia, raised from childhood to be professional seamen. The old rabble pressed for a single war became a permanent, disciplined service. Its life governed by the Articles of War, its day marked by the ration of grog. The Navy had stopped renting sailors. It had started keeping them. For all that organization, the whole fleet was about to be turned upside down, twice by technology. First came iron. In 1860, Britain launched HMS Warrior, an iron-hulled, armored warship that made every wooden ship of the line in the world obsolete at a stroke, including the Navy's own. Sail gave way to steam, and steam is why the coaling stations mattered so much. Then, in 1889, Parliament wrote British Sea Power into law, the two-power standard, which demanded the Royal Navy keep at least as many battleships as the next 2 largest navies, then France and Russia, put together. For 20 years, Britain built to that standard. And then, in 1906, Britain made itself obsolete on purpose. HMS Dreadnought, all big guns, driven by steam turbines, faster and more powerful than anything afloat, was so revolutionary that from the day she launched, every other battleship on Earth was second-rate, including the enormous fleet Britain had just spent decades building. The lead reset to nearly zero, and a new race began, this time against Germany, that would run straight into 1914. So that was the Royal Navy at its height, not really a fleet, but a system, a board of lords in Whitehall, a world sliced into stations, a chain of coal around the planet, a ladder that ranked every ship and every soul aboard. It ruled a century of relative peace, not by winning battles, but by being so completely organized that it rarely had to fight one. And in 1914, the whole vast machine weighed anchor at last and steamed off to a war that would end the century that built it. But the model it left behind, a global, professional, standardized navy run from a single room, is the one every great power has copied ever since.